Hi guys, this is Samantha K here from the Samantha K Experience. I'm here to tell you guys that it's free and easy to start your own podcast. Don't know where to start? Well, here's how. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Number one, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your home computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more podcast websites. You can make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey, it works for me and I'm living proof. Hi everyone, welcome to the Samantha K Experience. I'm your host Samantha K, and this is the last episode of the season 1, episode 20, and today we're going to be discussing selling Sunset and Selling Tampa. There are two different reality shows that are featured on Netflix. So the show started off with Selling Sunset, which is a real estate reality show, and there's this bunch of ladies that are in real estate and they work out in California where it's bright and sunny yes, bright and sunny, and basically, you know, they sell all of these $1 million houses to a lot of well-off people, to be exact. So far that particular show runs about 4 seasons. Actually, no, it is 4 seasons. I stand corrected. And I've watched every episode thus far. The reason why I have to admit that I started watching the show was I like one of the girls that's on the show. Her name is Chriselle Staus, and she used to be on All My Children. So back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there, she started working on All My Children, which is now, unfortunately, a now defunct soap opera that showed here in the States. It used to come on at 1 o'clock if you live on the East Coast. At 1 p.m. It was like, one of the more popular shows aside from General Hospital and One Life to Live, which is also a now defunct soap opera. That used to come on at 2 o'clock. So the soaps used to come on from 1 to 4, excuse me. And so she was on All My Children. Her character's name was Amanda Dillon. So when I heard that she was going to be on the show, I was like, oh, sweet. Let me see what this show is all about. Now, I have to be honest with you. I'm not really into reality shows like that. Reality TV shows are not really my thing. But for some reason, I have to admit that I really wanted to watch this show because I wanted to see, how comfortable some of these, famous people live, and the houses are very beautiful. I guess I have a taste for a little bit of design / architecture. Well, mainly because I on my downtime, once in a while I play the Sims game for a computer, and I like building the houses. I feel like I like building the houses more than I actually like making the characters themselves. It's just something about creating things from scratch, especially like the house, like trying to figure out how to construct the stairs if you want to make like a patio, like a deck, and then figuring out what to lay down the foundation and all that other stuff and whatnot. So I think for me it was a little bit of like, oh, I want to see how big these houses are, and a lot of them are on the hill, so it's like just to see how they have all of these like big windows and pools and just a lot of light that comes into these rooms, and some of these rooms are like really huge. So I'm just more curious as to see how the the 1% sort of lives in that spectrum. Also, it's good to see some of the clothes that the girls wear. Like a lot of the girls wear very nice dresses and shoes, which I can never fit into. But overall, I like to see like them do a little bit of getting the deals set up. The houses go into escrow, and I think the more and more that I started watching the show, I started thinking like, hey, maybe this would be something that I might be interested in the future, but doing myself. So I started to get that feeling like maybe I can do something like that. So I started watching the show, and I was like, okay, I like it. The Selling Sunset has all of these group of women, nice, beautiful women, and the show is run by twin brothers named Jason and Brett, and the firm is called the Oppenheim Group, and they have like all of these beautiful houses that they sell to this high price clientele. And it's really fun to watch the show, like just to see. I don't think there was ever an episode where it was not sunny. There was always like bright and sunny and full of colors. I think it also brings a lot with the drama that is on the show. Like there's like in the beginning of the series, I remember seeing like there was like a group, like a two group thing, like there was like a us versus them type of thing, and a lot of the animosity that's going on in the show is based off of things that were that took place during the first season with this girl named Christine and her friend Mary, her former friend named Mary, and Chriselle was like the new girl on the block. She just came in. She had gotten her real estate license and everything, and she's just starting. And at the time, Chriselle was married to, I don't want to put his name out there, but he's famous too, as Justin Hartley. But then as time progressed, things didn't work out, with them for whatever reason. And I feel like with Christine, watching the show and trying to analyze everything that was going on. Of course, every show or every reality show must have like the resident bad girl, like the one that no one gets along with for whatever reason. And I think that's portrayed very well by Christine. I have to say, I don't know any of these people in real life. I really don't. But it's just what is being portrayed on screen. Like, I think for me, it's not really fair to say that I could say like, a good chunk of the things that she did or said were really her fault. Like, I mean, how can I put this? I don't want to really focus too much on the drama, but of course I have to talk about the drama. I feel like when someone starts at a new job and you're already considered one of the top people that work there, and the person is maybe very nice and maybe even shy. I'm not saying 100% that Chriselle is a shy person. Maybe she's shy in the sense that she's not going to be like very extroverted, the center of attention kind of person. But I've oftentimes find that when someone new starts a job and they kind of start off rather timid because they don't really know the surroundings, they don't know how to interact with people just yet. They're still trying to get their feet wet and understanding what there is to know about the job that they're hired for, still trying to figure out what these people are like before they started working there, and maybe even if there's anything that they should look out for, which is run-of-the-mill standard for practically any job that you work for. You're going to want to know the ins and outs of what it takes to be on these particular jobs. Now, I feel like in the beginning that, you know, Christine really didn't give Chrishell a fair shake. Like, I felt like because she was the new girl, and even she stated this in the first season, that because she was the new girl, I think she felt that she had to, it was her duty to probably intimidate Chrishell to see how far she can take things. And I feel like that's really a bad start to get to know someone. Like, I'm not saying that you're going to be best friends with someone at the job, because to be honest, I don't like the whole idea of mixing business with pleasure in the first place, but I know it happens, and it happens often, and you know, sometimes you can't help how you feel towards another person, especially if you're working in close proximity with them. However, what I would think that if someone starts on the job, you know, you want to put your best foot forward and treat the person with as much respect as you want to be given, not, you know, sit there and throw shade at the person, or, you know, bring up certain things that might be offensive to that person. Like, I remember the first season was like really, you know, had a lot of the drama because, you know, she kind of put it out there that she didn't really like Chrishell, and she noticed that Mary and Chrishell were getting close, only because it was discovered that, you know, people were pretty much insinuating that that Mary's then boyfriend, oh my god, I can't even believe I forgot his name already, and he's like one of my favorite characters on the show. Well, it was assumed that you know, he might not been ready to marry Mary at that particular time. And basically on it wasn't Christine that said this, but one of the other girls had brought up the topic to Chrishell, and from the way how it was interpreted to the audience, when Chrishell was asked what she felt about it, Chrishell honestly said that she didn't know, you know, Romaine and Mary enough for them to make an assessment on whether or not, you know, if he's ready to marry her. And it was an honest answer. It wasn't like she said anything that was really, you know, negative. Things only got negative when what the hell was that girl's name? Darn, I can't remember her name right now, but she I feel so bad, but she basically went back and told Christine and Maya and a couple others, that how Chrishell was like pretty much talking trash about their relationship, and how she was questioning whether or not Romaine would have been, you know, was he really serious about marrying Mary at that particular point. And I was like, wait, that's not what she said though. She said she didn't know enough about them to make an assessment like that. I mean, the girl just literally started working there, and she went to like one gathering or two where, you know, both of them were together. How could she make an assessment on somebody that she barely knew? And especially the fact that somebody else brought up the topic. So I was like, that was kind of shitty, that to put that on someone. And when she didn't even say anything, and then, you know, and then they brought out the news at the dinner table to celebrate, I think it was Mary's birthday, and I'm sitting here like, Christine, that was like really low, because she brought it up, and then what's the girl's name? Andrea, yeah, I think it was Andrea or something like that her name is, and I'm really sorry if I butcher her name, but she was the one that said, he said, but you said so and so. I'm like, wait, she never said that. You're the one who was questioning whether or not Mary's boyfriend was gonna marry her. Like, why would you put the girl and throw the girl under the bus just because you want to be a bitch? So I was like, wow, you see, this is why sometimes being around too many people can be like, who are very catty in that sense, that look for drama. So I was like, look at this. They're really trying to get the girl into something that she didn't even do. So that was like things to look out for, you know, in season 1 and stuff like that. And of course, the relationship between Mary and Christine got really strained. So it was just like to the point where they don't even have a physical friendship anymore. As it was stated in by season 4, it was like they weren't even really talking. And then when Christine had her baby, it just only got incredibly worse from there. It was like, well, it was like little petty things that would happen. And I'm like, I don't understand how we work in the office like this. And you girls are beautiful, attractive young women who are like either in your 20s to like maybe late or mid 30s. You know, I don't understand why you guys can't just work it out instead of, you know, want to throw shade at somebody. Like I came to work not to sit here and then have these discussions about, oh, Christine said this and Christine said that. I mean, yeah, Christine ain't perfect and Christine said a lot of shit, but you know, to be completely honest, if you're gonna go and you make people's lives miserable because of I want to say make people's lives miserable, but you say certain things and you wonder when somebody doesn't want to be your friend, you can't sit there and then cry about it. I mean, obviously you said things to hurt people, and it wasn't Chriselle the only one that she targeted. What was the other girl's name? The one that just recently got married to the guy that is on the TV show. She made some off the cuff comment, and I think to some magazine or some article about whether or not this guy was going to marry this other girl. And I'm sitting here like, why are you so invested in these people, whether or not the guy is going to marry this girl or whatever? She's so, you know, far gone that she can't see that this guy's. I'm like, that's not your business. Like, you're so worried about stuff like that and you wondering why somebody doesn't want to be your friend. Like, I feel like, you know, you can't really have it both ways, sis. But like I said, this is a reality TV show, so it is designed to probably get ratings, and maybe some of these people are really friends in real life, but they just need to create a type of drama. In season 4, Christine had a baby, and congratulations to her and her husband for having their child. I heard that, according to her on the show, that she almost died because of like there was some complications while she was giving birth. They said that they couldn't get a pulse at some point, and it was kind of scary for her because she had to do, I think, a C-section, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe that her blood pressure might have gone down. So, you know, shout out to her for making it. I can't even imagine how scary that might have been, to feel like you might have died, or you and your baby might have died. So I commend her for pulling through, and I hope everything works out with her and her husband and their you know, their young baby boy. But you know, with that being said, I honestly, there was a moment in season 4 where I was like really pissed off because the guys had a party at I think one of their houses. I believe it was one of Jason has many houses apparently. Like almost every season Jason had a new house. I was like, okay. He apparently had a party, and they were going to expand the Oppenheim group at another location, and I forgot what they said where the location was going to be. I honestly just can't remember right now, but they were going to expand, and that was their big news for the end of the season 4. But what happened was that I kind of felt was really unfair, and I don't like when people kind of put their mouths in things that don't belong. There was one scene, and I have to kind of come for Christine's husband because he wasn't there and he don't know the full story. So there was a scene where Christine showed up late to the event, and basically what happened was she claimed like she wanted to talk to Mary, But Mary was at this point, and I know like Mary, when she get a little drink on, it's like Mary kind of get a little, like, I wouldn't say wild, but she kind of gets a little like aggressive. And I admit that, you know, that's not always a thing that you should do, but I feel like she was at the end of her rope with Christine, and she just had enough. So when you have people like the new girl like Vanessa coming through and telling her that, you know, Christine isn't as bad as you think she is, and stuff like that, it just kind of makes everything a little bit too, you know, it's too much. So I kind of understand where Mary was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I can't even deal with her anymore at this point. Like, there was moments where Mary said she tried to reach out to her and have like to talk to her, and Christine flat out ignored her. Like, she even sent an invite to I think she had a birthday party for her dog, and as she shares, Mary used to date Jason. Just for a little backstory, they used to date and they share a dog together. So they had a little birthday party for the dog, but Christine never showed up. Actually, no, she did show up. My mistake. She did show up, but she wasn't invited. Mary never sent her the invitation. Now, Mary had heard that Christine was having a baby. She sent Christine a gift for the baby, but Christine apparently didn't invite her to the baby shower. But Christine lied and said, but it's assumed that Christine lied and said that she did invite Mary, but Mary didn't show up. I'm like, first off, I want to make something kind of clear. If you're my friend, or we're not really friends like that anymore, the decent thing that I would have done would have been like, okay, well, I'm not going to invite this person because, quite frankly, me and this person are not close, and we used to be, but, you know, things have happened and our relationship is strained. I'm not going to invite you, because the simple fact is, you're going to be sitting there, you're going to be like, why am I here? And now you feel like you owe me, you owe me something or whatever have you. Now, I'm not going to invite you, but you can't get mad at me for not inviting you to something that I have. I'm like, look, we're not hanging out like that. We're not even friends. And when I try to extend the olive branch to you, you swap my hand away. So what am I supposed to do at this point? Like, you can't have it both ways, sis. Like, you can't say, oh, well, I'm surprised she didn't show up, when you didn't send the girl an invite. And she stated that a couple of times, that she said, I sent her a gift for her baby and she never responded. She sent her text, she said she never responded. She called her, she never picked up the phone. So now who's at fault? If you clearly see me calling you, why are you not even responding to my messages or my text? So if I'm leaving a voicemail on your phone and you clearly not getting back to me, you obviously seen the missed call. You just deleted it and didn't want to act like you ain't, didn't see it. But you're telling everybody else that, oh, well, she's not talking to me and I haven't heard from her. How can you not hear? Of course, you're not going to hear from somebody if you ignore them. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I didn't understand what she was trying to say in that manner, because it sounded like she was just, spouting BS to me. Because if somebody flat out said, I called you several times, I sent you texts, I even sent you something for your baby, and you never once reached out and responded, not even so much as a thank you, what am I supposed to do at this point? But then the reason why I had an issue with Christian, which is Christine's husband, he gonna say after she and Mary had their little blow up at the party, and Christine started crying and getting like, oh my god, I don't want to be here situation, and he said, oh, they're just jealous. I'm like, first off, this is not about jealousy. It's the simple fact that your wife said a lot of shit about people and came for people and done a lot of trifling stuff. To be fair, she had 2-3 seasons of this bullshit that she's been pulling. Like, she will say something and then she don't think that somebody gonna remember or check her for what she said. So let's be clear, she's not an angel either. I mean, regardless of whether or not that, Chriselle or whoever else may have a problem with her, or even Audra. There was even a point where she tried to say, oh, Audra should have backed her up, even if she knew that what she was saying wasn't true. I'm like, no, sis, that's not how this works. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You could be my friend, but heifer, if you're wrong, I'm not going to tell you you're right. Fuck about us being friends, excuse my language, but it's called a spade a spade. If it was a situation where somebody told you, okay, this guy I used to date and he used to be we used to be together and he was gonna propose to me and he had a ring and everything. Why is it that somebody who you claim was there don't even remember what the hell you talking about? And this situation, the breakup happened before the person even started working there. So how the hell could she know what you're talking about if she wasn't even working with y'all at the time of the breakup? So she tried to catch Audra, I think the girl's name, Audra, in some. So the Audra said, listen, no offense to you or anything, but you're not really being 100% truthful here, because I didn't have no recollection. I didn't even know you then. She gonna talk about, oh, that's not true. I'm like, are you just delusional? Like, you're not even hearing what people are saying? I'm like, girl, come on now. You doing too much. Like, you living in your own fairy tale. Even the old man that she dated even said he never proposed to her. It wasn't even like that, because she got beef with this other girl named, is it Erin or Emma? I think it's Emma. And they called in Emma, and Christine and her got beef. Apparently, Christine caught the ex-boyfriend that she used to be with Emma, and then all of a sudden it became like, Emma says that she cut her car off, blocked her from moving, and then she started banging on her window and scaring the hell out of her. But the way how Christine tells it like she never said anything to her and she just did this and did that. I'm like, sis, I don't understand how you got a one story is saying you never engaged in her in any type of like aggressive manner, but this girl clearly remembers you banging on her window and yelling at the guy to get out because he was over there with her. Like that doesn't make any sense. So you're saying that this girl created a whole scene just out of her head? So I just think that either she just don't remember these things, or she's just like trying to not cop to anything. So for me to hear somebody say, oh, they're just jealous, I'm like, what the hell do they have to be jealous of? These women make their own money. They don't have to work with her. What is there to be jealous of? I mean, yes, I could be miserable, you know what, too, but that don't mean that I have to have you telling me that, that they're just jealous. You wasn't even there from the beginning when they first started. He came in like at season 2, if I'm not mistaken. And even then, she didn't even tell anybody. She went on vacation and came back with a whole marriage, or a whole engagement. She didn't tell Mary, and Mary was supposed to be her best friend, right? But because Mary decided that she was going to give Chriselle a chance and everything, she didn't like that. So then now she started to feel betrayed. And then she said another reason why she don't mess with Mary anymore, because Mary wasn't there for her when her ex-boyfriend had broke up with her, and this, that, and the third. And she was like, Mary is sitting here like, what are you talking about? Like, I was there for you, and on top of it, you weren't really dating him at the time. So if Mary and this other girl can pretty much contradict 3 people altogether could contradict your story who was there around the time when you dated this dude, what are we talking about? So it just kind of comes off like she's kind of crazy. And I hate to make light of things like this, because some people create their own narrative to the point where they actually start believing their lies. And when you bust them on it, it's like they legit don't see that they're lying and what they're saying is false. So you have to try to, I wouldn't say convince them, but show them ways of where their point is not true. So I don't know. I feel like the way how the show ended, I feel like I don't know if any of the relationships with Christine is going to be repaired, aside from maybe Vanessa. But Vanessa's very kind-hearted and she's been through a lot too. But I honestly don't know if any of the relationships with Christine is going to be repaired. I honestly don't think Chriselle will have anything to do with her, just for the simple fact that Chriselle's been burned by her so many times, like involving like, everything is just too much. So I think with that, I'm gonna leave that for another time. But I'm curious about what's gonna happen in season 5, because season 5 a little stuff heats up. There's a little office romance that happens, and unfortunately in real life the romance ended about a couple of months ago. But everybody's on good terms from the sounds of it, and I hope that season 5 come with all the nice fabulous houses, and for once, because somebody actually showed them breaking the deal with the houses and stuff, because I like seeing them ring the bell and everything, but I want to see like the goings on, the meat and potatoes of them selling the house and they going into escrow and all that other stuff. Like I want to see all of that. Like it's nice to tell me that Mary sold the house for like $6.5 million, and her commission is like, the possible commission for that is like $100K or $96,000 or whatever have you. But keep in mind, you still gotta sort of, show what it takes to get into the business a little bit. At least that's from my standpoint. All right, so that was my take on Selling Sunset, and now we're gonna go cross country to Selling Tampa. So Selling Tampa is a Black-owned business run by a successful woman of color. This is a real estate firm called Allure Realty, set in Tampa, another nice sunny spot. I like it because this is their first season, and it has a lot of women of color on the show. And not to say anything negative about Selling Sunset, but the only two people that they have of like considered to be a minority, and I don't even like using that word so much, is Vanessa and Amanda. They're Latina. But where we have Selling Tampa, the firm is, I said our, like I work there. Their firm is run by women of color, and all her staff are women of color. So it's so good to see representation in a business and like that. And she herself said that when you have a business like that, it's really hard that people doubt you, and it's it can be quite difficult, because she said that people didn't even think that she was going to make it. So they wanted to see her fail, and that's really like jacked up, because anytime that there's a Black business owner, especially a Black woman, a woman of color, period, it's like people want to see them fail. They can't succeed, in what is considered to be a predominantly white business. So Allure is run by Sherelle Rosado. She's a former Army military. So she has that strict, like, she expects things to be a certain type of way. And she has all of these nice girls that work for her. And yes, there was a little drama going on in the show. Sherelle has like a second in command, and her second in command is Joanna. So they used to call the two of them Jarrell, which is funny, because they said that Joanna kind of micromanages everything, and a lot of the ladies don't like that, and they don't respect it. So some of them who started off with her with Sherelle would have preferred to be in that role. Like, I know there was one moment where Colony had came to Sherelle and she was like, yo, I know you got Joanna doing a lot of the office stuff, but I was here in the beginning when you first started Allure. Can I get in on that? I mean, not saying for her to give up her spot, but can we share the responsibilities? And unfortunately, much to Colony's dismay, that didn't happen. So Joanna became pretty much the high second in the command or whatever, and now that Sherelle's situation is because of changed because she's now pregnant. I don't know if she had the baby yet, but she became pregnant. And by the way, just kind of point out, she's dating Chad Ochocinco Johnson, so we just put that out there, just so that anyone don't know who she's with. But so she's currently pregnant. So then the show left off of whether or not she was going to live in Miami with Chad and give up maybe Allure in Tampa, or maybe even open up the possibility of her opening up another spot in Miami. So she was still kind of on the bubble as to what she was planning on doing with the firm, but she wanted to keep those people, keep the ladies working. So that's pretty much where Sherelle is at right now. But then you have some other girls that work with her, like Rena, who used to live next door to Sherelle. So they were like neighbors. And basically Rena was thinking about opening up her own brokerage firm because she felt that, I think it has something to do with the picture that she was not featured in to represent the firm, that she was one of the agents. So everything from that moment when they went to show the house and she realized that she wasn't featured on the picture, everything kind of changed. And I think she felt like she wasn't seen as valued, a valued person to work under Sherelle. So she was kind of entertaining, well, not kind of, she was entertaining the idea of opening her own brokerage firm. I personally don't know if she has yet. I'll probably look into it once I'm done with this episode to find out, because I know they showed that she was looking at a space, an office space, and she was trying to like negotiate, but that was as far as they took it, where she kind of sort of tried to kind of recruit the younger girls like Colony and Sophie. So it was kind of like, well, these are the younger top agents that Sherelle has, and even having this conversation with them kind of seems like you're trying to poach them away from Sherelle, which is kind of a bad move in my opinion. I mean, I understood where she was coming from, but at the same time I was like, sis, come on, like you could have went to anybody else and asked them that who weren't affiliated with Sherelle, but the fact that you did, it kind of put a bad taste in Colony's mouth. But Aunt Sophie, pretty much, I'm gonna just call her Ann, but Ann seemed like she was entertaining the idea a bit, and Colony didn't like that because she was like, why you didn't say anything all of a sudden now that because Rena put this idea out, now you thinking about leaving the Lord, like really? So I think that was the issue. Like I think that was kind of like a bad move on Rena's part, but I kind of understood where she was coming from, like a what if. But even the fact that you're putting that type of energy out there suggests that you're trying to poach this girl's agents away from her, which is bad move in my opinion, and not really good business wise. Okay, because you don't want to start off with like a bad, on a bad note, so there was that. And there was some other drama too between Alexis, this other lady named Alexis, and Tennille. So Alexis was supposed to show a house to a potential buyer, on Tennille's behalf because Tennille was going on vacation. And this girl goes and she fumbles the whole thing. She don't know anything about the house. How much was the property tax? How much, like even her whole presentation sounded like she wasn't prepared. So unfortunately, at the end of the season, Sherelle had made a decision to let her go, and it didn't sit well with Alexis because Alexis felt like she was abandoned. And I'm like, well, sis, you had an opportunity. You could have stepped up to the plate, and you kind of let this girl down. Like, you not only let, Tennille down, but you also let your boss down. Because this girl asked you to do something, and you could have even like found out how much the square foot, how many. Now, here's the thing: if a client is gonna ask you how many bathrooms and how many bedrooms the house has, and you can't give them a definitive answer, you're saying, I think it's 5, or was it 5 bathrooms or 5 bedrooms? Like, which one is it? Like, you can't. You have to make up you have to not make up figures, but you have to know what the house is. Is it a modern, contemporary, whatever type of house it is, what has been replaced, if it's new marble, excuse me, I got marble in the brain. If it's it has marble, what kind of style the house is, even to the lighting, what's been new, what's been added, what's been changed, if there's a new addition to the house, like if it's like a new room or a space that got closed off. All of these things have to be mentioned. All these things have to be mentioned to the client, to the buyer, the potential buyer. You can't just sit there and say, I think it's this and I think it's that. Like come on. Like, those things, like, figures are very important. It's almost just as important as showing the actual house itself and showing the client. Like, it's all about presentation, how you look, how you speak, how you carry yourself, and for sure that this house is something that you would consider buying if you had the opportunity, and why this person will want this house. Like, it's simple. It's like simple math. But she couldn't even do that. I think what happened was that she got flustered, and maybe, she should take a step back and realize if this is what she really wants to do, which is what Sherelle said to her. Then when Colony had celebrated her 30th birthday, Alexis showed up, and then she started I feel some type of way. And I'm just like, sis, the best way you could have avoided this had you not been telling other people that you felt abandoned. And then you go and you start saying like things like, you're not even sure if she do hire you back. But you have to prove to her why you want to come back. You can't just say, you're not even sure. It's up to her. It's up to Sherelle if she wants to hire you back on the show. I mean, at the office, not on the show itself, but at the firm. Like, she's putting her neck out for you. At least that's what I think. I mean, I don't know anything about like real estate like that, but I'm pretty sure on a boss level, if a boss comes to you and says to you, listen, you're effing up, and I've given you chance after chance to try to prove yourself, and your productivity is not flowing to the standards of this job, they're gonna have to let you go. It's only but so many times that a job is gonna tell you the same thing. It's gonna cut some slack to you. You have to prove to yourself prove to them why you are a great asset to begin with, and why you are supposed to work there, not the other way around. The boss ain't got shit to prove to you. You got to prove to them, because she already got her money. She already got herself established. It's up to you to get yourself established, and you set the bar high for everyone else that's coming behind you. That's how it is. That's just how life is. Whether or not you're working for yourself or you're working for somebody else, that's just how it is. But overall, I think I like Selling Tampa a little bit more than I like Selling Sunset. That's only because I like the fact that the girls, aside from the cattiness that's also on the show, I like the fact that I like seeing like the women represented in more of a positive manner, because the fact of the matter is, like, when you are running a business, and especially a lot of times when you're a woman and you're running a business, it's very hard to try to be in a field that is predominantly, predominantly known for having men in it. So I feel like it's very good to see that somebody like me, actually trying to make it and do good for herself and the people that she brings on, and also for her kids and for her mom and her stepdad and so on and so forth. So I like seeing that. But if you guys are really into watching, of course they got the fashion, because the girls on both shows dress fly, dress hot, dress nice. They never look crazy. Nobody in the lowest points, they never really look all that crazy. And if you want to watch that, and you want to watch like these nice houses being sold and all that stuff, if you like real estate, or maybe even consider looking at real estate as an option for you, maybe not, I don't know, or you just want to look at some nice beautiful homes and just take the edge off and not think about anything, and after a long hard day of work, you can sit down, watch the show with some popcorn and maybe some wine or whatever, and just have at it. Selling Sunset and Tampa is both on Netflix. Selling Sunset has currently 4 seasons and about maybe 5 to maybe 6 episodes per, I believe, per season. Selling Tampa, I think, has a total of 10 episodes, so they probably have a little bit more of an edge in terms of episodes over Selling Sunset. But just check it out. There's new seasons recently dropped within November and December, I believe, so check it out. So this is me. This is the Samantha K Experience, and I'm signing off. And before I sign off, I just want to let you guys know that season 2 is going to be coming up very soon, where we're going to cover this year's 2022 WWE Royal Rumble. You don't want to miss it. That's going to be a lot of stuff to cover, both good and definitely bad on the show. So just look out for that. Season 2 is going to start very soon, so just be mindful of that. Well, this is me signing off. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.